What's up, everybody? Y'all already know what's going on. We back with another reaction video. And before we get into the reaction video, make sure you come and join up on the Kick. Come follow the Kick. Kick.com/LilBank. We live daily. We do things. We chill. Whole lot of shit. Y'all already know what's going on. So y'all already know what's up. Make sure y'all hit that subscribe button and hit the, follow the Instagram. Just follow the Instagram and let me know what y'all want from there. You got something you want to say?
Back with another reaction. South London, Hillside versus Gas. Now, I'm really into it though, because it's very interesting. I like to see from y'all point of view what's going on and what y'all going through out there. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You know, some people who does this be getting a lot of stuff wrong though, but you know, we got people in the chat who straighten it all out.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
In the comments.
Oh, in
so
the comments.
So when we come back to this video, they gonna let us know everything we like. Okay. If we like, you feel me, off about something, like they get down to the logistics of everything. So we're gonna see. Let's tap into the video. Y'all already know what's up. Let's see what's going on, man.
The world. However, what a lot of these tourists are unaware of is the fact that a deadly gang war. Now, London is well known for its entertainment, landmarks, and culture, with London even being ranked as one of the most diverse cities in the world. These factors then lead to London attracting tourists from all around the world. However, what a lot of these tourists are unaware of is the fact that a deadly gang war has been playing out within the streets, only miles away from London's most well-known landmarks and tourist attractions. This deadly story takes place in...
Imagine shit so beautiful. And then you go around the corner and this nigga's outside.
How would you really even know that?
If you touristing.
But you from, I mean, I get it. Like some people will get it from being from that experience being in they country. But how would you really even know though? You feel me? Some of them don't even be masked up though. You feel me? So how would you even know who really? You feel what I'm saying? You a tourist from a whole nother country come here, so it's like.
Yeah, what the fuck type shit.
That's just like when people go to New York and shit. Like, that's be tourists from New York. When they go out there, they don't know who the gang out there because everybody look the same out there, to be honest. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't know who really in the gang, you know what I mean?
Stereotypical shit.
South London, being the area south of the River Thames. It's also to note that around 2.8 million people currently live in and around South London. Now, the borough...
Damn! That's a lot of people, though. That is a lot of people.
That this gang war takes place in is that of Lambeth, which is actually among the top 5 most dangerous London boroughs. In 2023, the crime rate recorded in Lambeth was 135 crimes per 1,000 people, coming in...
Yo, y'all out there going crazy.
I told you they need therapy, bro.
Yo.
They need therapy, bro. It's nothing. It's no like...
It's real out there.
Yeah.
It's real out there, but yo, y'all going crazy.
They need therapy, bro.
Higher than surrounding boroughs. But you may be confused as to how these alliances of gangs have had such a violent and dangerous war with each other, resulting in the deaths of around 30 people, with this war seemingly going unnoticed for decades, before members would begin to make UK drill music, this being the violent gang war between the Hillside Alliance and the Gas Alliance. Before this video starts, I would like to say that this road life really isn't worth it, and most times just leads to jail or death. If you or someone you know is getting involved with the gang life, I urge you to let the people around you know and distance yourself from it. These people who are often posted wearing expensive clothes and showing off their road life.
Listen to this nigga, bro. Just y'all need to listen to this nigga. Y'all really need to listen to this nigga. We telling y'all listen to this nigga. Y'all be playing.
Aren't sharing the whole picture, as they themselves have lost friends to the roads. So if you take anything away from this video, make sure that it is to distance yourself from the gang life. The Hillside Alliance is a group of gangs based around multiple areas within South London. These gangs include LTH, or Lower Tulse Hill, based around the SW2 postcode, 67 or 674 based around the SW4 postcode, and parts of the SW2 postcode, and finally GID, or 55, based around Streatham Hill, within the SW16 postcode. Other gangs are also closely allied with the Hillside Alliance. These gangs include Tuna Raw, based around Stockwell, SW9, and Gypsy Hill, located around SE19 and SE27. These gangs also are allied under the collective known as the Hillside Alliance, with this alliance mainly being based within the London borough.
So they all together. Type shit is what I'm getting. They all together.
Of Lambeth, and are more commonly just referred to as Hillside. Another gang often mentioned with these gangs is that of Harlem Spartans and Cuckoo, based within Kennington. It's important to note, however, that this gang isn't directly allied with the Hillside gangs, but does have beef with the gangs from the Gas Alliance. The Gas Alliance
so
is a
that
group
was-
of gangs.
Yep. Yeah, Hillside is multiple gangs linked up. Okay, and they versus.
Gangs that directly oppose the Hillside Alliance. The gangs included within the Gas Alliance are 150 or GBG, based around the Angeltown Estate, SW9, as well as CMG, which is based in the neighboring Loughborough Estate, also within the SW9 postcode. Another gang is that of 410, based around the Myatts Field Estate within SW9. The UTH gang is also a part of the Gas Alliance, and is based around Upper Tulse Hill, SW2. Finally, the gang from nearby Clapham, known as CT, is a prominent gang within the war. This gang being based around the SW4 and SW9 postcode. Another gang also closely allied with the Gas Alliance is that of 17 Wano or TOG from SW8, who share a lot of the beef against Hillside and have had a deadly rivalry with Stockwell. The gang Sirach is also involved in the war and used to be allied with Gas Gang, but after a situation between members, they would start to have a deadly rivalry with their old friends. The Sirach gang is actually EBK, which stands for Everybody Killer, meaning they have little
Jacking nobody. We're not jacking nobody. All that little, yeah, like we're not jacking nobody. Dub.
to no affiliation with surrounding gangs other than Harlem Spartans, beefing both the Gas Alliance and the Hillside Alliance. Now that I have discussed the gangs involved in this deadly war, we can now take a deep dive into what made these groups of teenagers based on different estates begin to have a disturbing and deadly rivalry with each other. Now, it's thought that the split in Brixton, resulting in the Gas versus Hillside War, began following the savage and brutal murder of a prominent member of TN1 known as Lil Zach. However, I will discuss this later on in the video. It's important to note that around this time, the Hillside and Gas gangs would identify under different names. 6-7 would be better referred to as BHB around this.
6-7, like, boy, like 6-7, what's the name? That's where he from?
Time. This being an acronym for Brixton Hill Bullies. LTH was better known as TN1, and Stockwell would be better referred to as ABM, or All Bout Money. The opposing gangs would also identify under different names, but were all linked under one gang referred to as Gas Gang, which stood for Grip and Shoot. This gang included 28s, nowadays known as...
I wouldn't even guess that shit stand for that. Them niggas is... Wow.
150, MZ, or Murder Zone, nowadays known as Sirach, OC, or Organized Crime, which is better known nowadays as the popular UK drill group 410. Other gangs around this time included Cuckoo, which was better known as BYM, or Bang Your Mash. It would actually be this BYM gang that would kill a loved member of OC or 410 in 2006. This incident would then spark tit for tat incidents, resulting in 410 becoming very involved in the war, this loved member being Tiny Alien.
Damn, this shit go back.
Way back. Way back.
I think somebody in the chat said that though.
Yeah, they said that shit go way back, like 20. It's no way, bro.
Damn.
So that means
Niggas is old now.
Niggas is old. Niggas is old. So half of these niggas was probably friends.
Damn near.
On the 9th of June 2006, a 15-year-old member associated with the OC gang from Myatts Field, known as Tiny Alien, or Alex, would travel on a bus with two friends onto rival BYM territory around Black Prince, with it being thought he did this in order to expand the territory of his own gang, OC. Upon reaching the Black Prince area, Tiny Alien and his two friends would get off the bus. The three members would walk around for a few minutes. At around 11 p.m., two members of the BYM gang based within Kennington would notice Tiny Alien. The two Black Prince members would approach Tiny Alien. A confrontation then ensued, and sadly ended in a BYM member stabbing Tiny Alien in the heart, with the attackers fleeing. Tiny Alien's blood brother would then phone the police before then calling their dad and alerting him of the stabbing. Tiny
That's ill, gruesome.
Alien would be taken to St. Thomas's Hospital. His dad would then also rush to the hospital. However, sadly only an hour later, Tiny Alien would be pronounced dead in the hospital, with police and detectives quickly launching a murder investigation. During the investigation, police would arrest and charge an 18-year-old BYM member known as Abu Sarpong, who would go on to be found guilty in 2007. And after months of investigating, Judge Gerald Gordon would go on to sentence Abu Sarpong to life with a minimum term of 14 years, most likely meaning he is out of prison now. In a statement released by Tiny Alien's cousin,
See, they get the minimum, like they'll get a 14 and then be able to get out and shit and finish life. But shit, nigga, that's 14 years of your life already gone, cooked, bro. You know what you could have did with 14 years of your fucking life?
You miss a lot of life, nigga.
they would go on to say, "Young people are the future for tomorrow." and these young people are dying. Rest in peace, Tiny Alien. Following his death, members of OC would begin to pay tribute to him on social media, with these members posting images of him. One of these images portrayed him crouching, whilst holding a pump-action shotgun toward the camera. This image then leading to news sources beginning to report on the gang that Tiny Alien was supposedly a part of, with a headline from 2008 entitled, "The Life and Death of a Gangster." As a result of the death of Tiny Alien, OC would become very closely involved with Gas Gang, and would begin to beef the gang BYM from Black Prince. It's also to note that around this time, all of the gangs in Brixton would basically be linked up, and would focus most of their beef towards Peckham gangs. However, this was all going to change in the years following Tiny Alien's death. In 2007, the younger generation of gang members from Angeltown would begin to form friendships with surrounding gangs. These gangs included Tiny OC from Myatt's Field, as well as MZ or Murder Zone from the Somerleyton area, more specifically the Moorlands Estate as well as Southwick House, and finally, the neighboring gang from Loughborough. These 4 blocks decided to unite and create Gas Gang, gas being an acronym for Guns and Shanks, Grip and Shoot, Girls Ain't Shit, as well as other names. The Gas Gang would mainly have a rivalry with Peckham, with this beef on its own, being one of the most infamous gang rivalries. However, I won't be discussing this beef in this video. It would be in August.
They got the hardest gang name in this shit. Like they gang name is about the best out of the whole beef. Out of her, they got the best gang name. I ain't gonna lie.
2007, that one of the first people would fall victim to the war between Hillside and Gas, this being the death of Bowser, who repped the MZ gang from Somerleyton. On the 3rd of August 2007, a member of BHB from Brixton Hill known as Junes would get his golden chain robbed by alleged MZ members, BHB being the predecessor gang to the modern 6-7 gang from Brixton. Anyways, Junes would seek retaliation following the robbery of his chain. Hours following this incident, Junes would arm himself.
Remember, they don't give shit no time, nigga. Get back, get back, get back, get back.
HB being the predecessor gang to the modern 6-7 gang from Brixton. Anyways, Junes would seek retaliation following the robbery of his chain. Hours following this incident, Junes would arm himself with a gun and would travel around Brixton searching for the MZ members. After searching for a few hours, Junes would notice Bowser, who was sitting with friends on a wall.
Young Dev, shout out Young Dev in the chat. What's up, brody?
In Brixton, Junes would open fire, shooting Bowser 6 times, with one of these bullets even entering his heart. Junes would flee following this, with police and paramedics being called to the scene. Sadly, Bowser would be pronounced dead on the scene moments later, with yet another murder investigation being launched. 17-year-old Junes would quickly be apprehended and arrested days later. He would then be charged, and would later be found guilty in 2008, being sentenced to life with a minimum of 21 years for this deadly shooting. Rest in peace, Bowser. It's thought that the death of Bowser would result in the modern-day beef between BHB, nowadays known as 6-7, and MZ, nowadays known as Ciroc. Whilst...
Hold on, chat. Let me give my boy a badge. He said, I got that jerk chicken and this shit fire, bro. I told you, bro. I don't be boosting the food, bro. That shit is fire, bro. I forgot where it's from. Reggae? I think the name was Reggae, bro. I think the name was Reggae, bro. I'm about to give it to him right now. Pause. Pause. Pause.
Hey, yeah, you gotta chill, bro.
Alright, last OG. He's the last OG. That's my boy. He's the last OG. Alright, come on.
This incident definitely did not unite the gangs in Brixton. It definitely added tension between the gangs, and it would be the death of a TN1 member known as Lil Zach in 2010 that would separate the gangs indefinitely. In 2007, the war between a gang from Stockwell known as ABM, which is nowadays a part of the Hillside Alliance and is known as Team Raw, would have a deadly rivalry with Zero.
Nigga said pause, ain't save you this time, nigga. Niggas on some bullshit, man. Y'all gotta chill, bro. I'm getting y'all off the screen, too. Move, get off the screen. Get off the screen, man. Get off the screen, bro. Move, bro.
031, or TOG, nowadays known as 17-1, added tension between the gangs, and it would be the death of a TN1 member known as Lil Zach in 2010 that would separate the gangs indefinitely. In 2007, the war between a gang from Stockwell known as ABM, which is nowadays a part of the Hillside Alliance and is known as Team Raw, would have a deadly rivalry with 031, or TOG, nowadays known as 17-1, this gang being very closely allied with Gas Gang. The beef between ABM and 031 would be one of the main rivalries around this time, during 2007 and 2000.
Whoever covering this video gotta be from the UK.
He's from the UK. He just masking his voice with an AI voice.
He has to be from the UK.
There's no way you know all this.
You feel me?
You
like
know
being from the
mad
States,
shit.
you know too much stuff, bro. You feel what I'm saying? You know.
But how do he know the inside shit? Like he like.
You gotta be from there. You gotta be from there to know the inside. What's going on?
He around too.
You gotta be.
He around.
2008, with 3 people dying in 3 years, the first of these being Boo. In 2007, an alleged 16-year-old member of the ABM gang, known as Boo, whose involvement in the ABM gang is often debated, with the media and his family members claiming he had nothing to do with any gangs. Anyways, in 2007, Boo would be out with a few friends. At around midnight, members of the nearby rival gang 031 would spot Boo with his friends. The members would start to chase Boo, who would then be shot multiple times by the 031 members. Sadly, Boo would be pronounced dead on the scene, with police arriving moments later, putting up police tape and launching an investigation. Later in 2007, a man would be charged with the death of Boo. However, I couldn't find if he was sentenced or not. Rest in peace, Boo. Following the death of Boo, his family would come out and would state that he had nothing to do with the gangs in the area and was in the wrong place at the wrong time. But either way, rest in peace, Boo, or Abu Kar Muhammad. During this time in Brixton, gangs in the area would be somewhat affiliated, with members of BHB and Gas Gang even having a song together from around 2008 and 2009. Around this time, a gang from Tulse Hill would become very prominent, this being TN1, or Trust No One, Tell No One. This gang was closely allied with the Stockwell-based gang ABM, which I just spoke about, as well as gangs based around Brixton Hill, like BHB. On the 14th of March 2008, an alleged member of the OC gang known as Ratty would be returning from his friend's house in the Myatsfield estate. At around 8 p.m., rival gang members would pull up and would start shooting toward Ratty. Ratty got hit in the head as a result of the oncoming bullets and would be rushed to hospital. However, sadly, would end up dying a day following the shooting, with police then launching a murder investigation. This investigation has seen little to no arrests made 15 years later, with the murder being unsolved till this day. Whilst it is not known who killed Ratty, many theories do fly around the internet. What is known is that the man that supplied the gun used in the murder was quickly arrested and charged. This man would later receive 12 years for this. Rest in peace, Ratty. In 2015, police would rule the murder of Ratty as gang-related and would begin to publicly name the OC gang, as well as its rivals, although Ratty's family claimed that he had no relation to any gangs within the area. New members from BHB would begin to get active in the streets, an example of this being Dimsy, who would later become very popular within the UK drill scene. A video would resurface in 2017. This video showed Dimsy rapping in 2008. The music video portrayed a very young Dimsy rapping whilst walking around his estate. In this song, you can actually hear him shout out BHB, or simply just BH, which most likely stands for Brixton Hill. He would rap BH bullies, bully the streets. In 2008, the beef between 031 and ABM would once again heaten up, with the death of a 031 member seemingly being a retaliation for the death of Boo a year prior, this being Moody, who was a very prominent member of 031 Wandsworth Road.
So they just going back to back, 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 bro.
In July 2008, a member associated with the 031 gang based around Wandsworth Road, known as Moody, would be with a few of his friends. During this time, he would even be pictured with his friends having a water gun fight. But what no one knew was that only 2 hours later, Moody would sadly be stabbed and killed by rival ABM members. At around 7 p.m., Moody would be returning to his home in order to change his clothes, as his current clothes were wet from the water fight he had with his friends. On his way home, 6 members of the rival ABM gang would spot Moody. The members would attack Moody, this then turning deadly when knives would be drawn, and Moody would be stabbed multiple times. Moody would be pronounced dead on the scene, with police and paramedics arriving on the scene minutes later. Police would launch a murder investigation shortly after the...
My question is this still the retaliation of son getting his chain took? Because that's how it started off the chain, right?
The chain took, and then they killed.
And they started going crazy after that chain.
Old boy, then that's when they killed old boy.
The murder. The killer of Moody would never be arrested nor identified. However, 3 members that were present and attacked him would be arrested and sentenced for the murder. 1 member would be given 3.5 years in jail. The second man would be given 2 years and 9 months. And the final man would be given a year's detention and a training order. The judge on this case would then also release a...
Oh, I'm so lost.
month later, police would launch a murder investigation shortly after the murder. The killer of Moody would never be arrested nor identified. However, 3 members that were present and attacked him would be arrested and sentenced for the murder. 1 member would be given 3.5 years in jail. The second man would be given 2 years and 9 months. And the final man would be given a year's detention and a training order. The judge on this case would then also release a statement saying, "Your victim was rendered defenseless and the killer was able to stab and kill him. Rest in peace, Moody." After the death of Moody, 031 members would be seeking retaliation, and in the following year, they would get their retaliation, killing a loved member of ABM in one of the most gruesome ways I think I have ever heard, this being the death of Shays from ABM. In April 2009, a member associated with the ABM gang, known as Shays, would be chilling with friends in Stockwell. What he didn't know was that a member of the rival 031 gang would be walking his dog in the area. This member being Blizzard. Blizzard would spot Shays whilst walking with his dog. Shays would then lock eyes with Blizzard and would make an attempt to escape. Shays would begin to run, with Blizzard then letting his pit bull cross dog off a lead. The dog would then chase Shays, who by this point was attempting to jump a fence. The dog would catch up and would drag Shays down. Blizzard then ran up with a knife and began stabbing Shays multiple times. After a few minutes, the attack would end when Blizzard would flee.
Yo, he used the dog as a weapon too. He let his dog go get him. Nah, that's crazy, bro. Nah, that's some crazy shit.
Blizzard would spot Shays whilst walking with his dog. Shays would then lock eyes with Blizzard and would make an attempt to escape. Shays would begin to run, with Blizzard then letting his pit bull cross dog off a lead. The dog would then chase Shays, who by this point was attempting to jump a fence. The dog would catch up and would drag Shays down. Blizzard then ran up with a knife and began stabbing Shays multiple times. After a few minutes, the attack would end when Blizzard would flee the scene, with witnesses stating he was covered in blood by this point. Police and emergency services would arrive moments later, with Shays being pronounced dead on the scene. A murder investigation would be launched following this. However, detectives would actually have a hard time connecting the killer to the scene, this mainly being due to the fact that a dog had also attacked Shays. But in 2010, police would arrest Blizzard and charge him for the murder. He would later be found guilty and would be given life with a minimum of 24 years. Rest in peace, Shays. 2009 was one of the first years that members associated with the ABM gang would begin to rap. An example of this was Young Teflon, who would release an ABM freestyle in October 2009.
They different over there, bro.
Other members included Mucky and Loops, who would also release music videos in 2008 and 2009. Around 2009, members from both Gas Gang and BHB would seemingly be affiliated, even having an old song recorded together, featuring 6-7 member Dimsy and Gas Gang members. This just showing that all of these members were actually once friends. However, this was all due to change in 2010, when a loved member of the gang TN1 would sadly fall victim to the streets, causing a massive divide in Brixton. This then resulting in what we know today as Hillside versus Gas. The incident that would spark all of this would be the death of Lil Zach. On the 2nd of July 2010, a member associated with the Tulse Hill gang, TN1, known as Lil Zach, would enter school. Upon entering school, it was compulsory for him, along with all other students, to hand in their phone. On this day, however, Lil Zach would refuse to hand his phone in. Zach would then have a conversation with a teacher at this point, and only moments later, Zach would seemingly catch eyes with a car full of Gas Gang members who were outside of the school. Zach would then tell a friend, "That's them, that's them." The Gas Gang members would exit the vehicle and would approach another student outside of the school, stabbing him in the arm. This student would then walk back into the school in an attempt to escape the attackers. The Gas Gang members decided not to pursue the student that had already been stabbed, but instead
Yeah, I was about to say, don't chase him in the school. That's way crazy. Chasing him in the school, that's crazy, bro.
15-year-old Zach, who would begin to run. Zach would make it around 400 feet before the Gas Gang members would catch up, stabbing him multiple times. The Gas Gang members would flee following the attack, with police and paramedics arriving moments later at around 8:50 a.m. Lil Zach would be rushed to a South London hospital, but would sadly be pronounced dead an hour and 30 minutes later. A murder investigation would be launched following this, and only a day later, on the 3rd of July, 4 people were arrested in connection to the murder. These
Feel like kids, bro. That's a kid right here, bro. This is a little ass boy, bro.
They all is. Them niggas don't even look like he 15.
What the fuck?
He looked 12.
He looked the youngest.
13.
He looked the second youngest. He looked the third youngest, and he looked the fourth youngest.
About 15.
He about 15. Yeah, like
Members included Kyle Kinghorn, who went by the street name Clicks, Helder Demarace, or Mad H, Jamal Moore, or J-Kid, and finally Ricardo Giddings, who went by the name Maggie. All 4 of these men were a part of Gas Gang. In 2011, all 4 would be found guilty and would be sentenced to life with a minimum of 18 years, 16 years, another 16 years, and 14 years. Rest in peace, Lil Zach. It was actually revealed in court, following the death of Lil Zach, that he had attended a Youth Against Violence conference, and would even speak about wanting to change his lifestyle and leave the streets. In a comment posted under a Reddit thread titled, "Have you ever had a close friend become a murderer?" a user would respond and would write about how he grew up with the Gas Gang members that would go on to kill Lil Zach. The user would also write about how it wasn't surprising, as the area they were from, being Brixton, would see multiple murders, even stating they knew a few other murderers from the area.
And it comes to life as being in the trenches or in the hood, as they say. Once you grow up and see a lot of shit, you get desensitized to it.
But
you would get desensitized to it. Like that's real life. Like, so if they growing up watching they OGs allegedly do it and they OGs allegedly do it and they seeing this shit and thinking it's cool, they desensitized to the fact that this shit is really real life and they not supposed to be doing this shit, bro. So it's just like regular. Like they turned it to a norm. It's a norm. That's weird, bro. That's weird, bro.
The death of Lil Zach would result in Brixton splitting, with certain members of TN1 wanting to slide and get revenge for their fallen friend, and others siding with the Gas Gang members. This then leading to surrounding gangs having to pick who they would back in the beef. This resulted in nearby BHB, nowadays known as 6-7, ABM and GID, or 5-5, deciding to back TN1, which later became LTH, or Lower Tulse Hill. A gang from Upper Tulse Hill would decide to affiliate themselves with Gas Gang around this time. Beefing LTH, 6-7, ABM and GID, this massive split leads to the beef that we see today between LTH, 6-7, M Block, and GID. These gangs opposing the rival UTH, or Up Top 150, or AD 410, CT from Clapham, as well as the 17 Wano gang, which is also referred to as 031. 2011 was actually quite a deadly year, with it being known that 2 alleged affiliates of the TN1 gang would be killed. These included both Ziggy and Nana, who were both killed in 2011. Since then, however, their involvement in the gang war has been debated, as they were allegedly just affiliates. Rest in peace, both Ziggy and Nana. It would also be in 2011 that the war between the Hillside affiliated gang ABM and the Gas affiliated gang 031 would get deadly, with rival members carrying out a deadly attack on Oxford Street, resulting in the tragic death of an ABM member known as Tuna Raw, with his friends then creating the set in his name referred to nowadays as Team Raw.
That's crazy.
On the 26th of December 2011, a member from the ABM gang, known as Tuna Raw or Nuts, would travel to central London with friends, more specifically Oxford Street. As he had intentions of spending his Christmas money on clothes, upon reaching Oxford Street, a rival gang member known as Jermaine Joseph would spot him. Tuna Raw would notice this, and a confrontation would ensue between these 2 members. It's alleged that Tuna Raw would then chase Jermaine Joseph into a footlocker. Once Jermaine Joseph would reach the footlocker, he would then fight back and would stab Tuna Raw twice in the chest, with so much force that the knife snapped. Breaking from the handle, Jermaine Joseph would flee the scene following the stabbing.
Wait, I'm lost. I gotta run it back.
On the 26th of December 2011, a member from the ABM gang, known as Tuna Raw or Nuts, would travel to central London with friends, more specifically Oxford Street. As he had intentions of spending his Christmas money on clothes, upon reaching Oxford Street, a rival gang member known as Jermaine Joseph would spot him. Tuna Raw would notice this, and a confrontation would ensue between these 2 members. It's alleged that Tuna Raw would then chase Jermaine Joseph into a footlocker.
So he was already out. So they're basically saying Tuna Raw was already out. Then he seen Boy. They had an argument. He chased him, and Boy stabbed him.
Once Jermaine Joseph would reach the footlocker, he would then fight back and would stab Tuna Raw twice in the chest, with so much force that the knife snapped.
Yo, what the fuck, bro? He should just left this situation alone. He was already out trying to spend his money. He should just mind his business, bro. That sound like he was the aggressor, though. Like, that sound like he got on now with him.
But it was more of them than it was the other nigga. Tuna Raw was already there with his friends.
Oh, he was with his friends, right? He was with his friends.
From the handle. Jermaine Joseph would flee the scene following the stabbing, with police and paramedics quickly arriving on the scene. Upon reaching the crime scene, Tuna Raw had bled to death outside of the Foot Locker. A murder investigation launched by police saw the arrest of Jermaine Joseph days later. During his trial, he told the court that he acted in self-defense, as Tuna Raw had chased him into the Foot Locker. In the end, the charges put against him would be dropped, and he would be acquitted of the murder charge. Rest in peace, Tuna Raw or Nuts. Following the death of Tuna Raw, members of ABM would become better known as M Block and Team Raw, this name paying homage to Tuna Raw, who was killed on Boxing Day 2011. So for simplicity's sake, I will be referring to ABM as Team Raw, as this is what they went by around this time and still go by. The main rivals of Team Raw, known as 031, would also change their name around this time, changing their name to Team Trizzy, paying homage to a fallen member of 031 that died in July 2012. This name was prominent for a few years, but has since faded out, with the members of this gang nowadays going by either 17 Wano or TOG, which stands for Tape Off Gang. 2012 would also see the first instance of members involved in the beef-making music. Members from the Myats Field Collective OC would drop songs around this time, an example of this being Tiny Sykes, who was quite consistent around this time. In 2012, members from Brixton Hill that repped the gang BHB or Brixton Hill Bullies would begin to go by 674 around this time, with young members like Dimsy, LD, and Monkey. It's also important to note that the 6-7 gang did also go by the name OSG, or On-Site Gang, which they actually reference in their new name. When the numbers 674 are typed onto a trap phone keypad, the letters OS and G are visible. Younger members from Brixton
That's fire. I ain't gonna lie. That's fire. That's fire.
would also start repping the gangs. An example of this would be PR, who we now know as PRSAD. PR would originally rep the 150 gang based around Angeltown, but would switch sides around 2013 when the beef would begin to get hot, with old tweets even emerging showing PR, showing his love to a dead 150 member known as SQ, which is crazy, as around a year later, he would appear in multiple 6-7 music videos, in which the rappers dissed SQ. It's also to note that in 2012, a member associated with the gang 031, known as Pricey, would be stabbed to death at a nightclub in Reading. The attacker would later go on to be arrested, and is now serving life with a minimum of 24 years. Rest in peace, Pricey. 2013 would roll around, and would be a very deadly year in the beef, with members starting to drop UK drill songs that gained millions of views, as well as in-house beef beginning to occur between the MZ or Ciroc gang and 150, resulting in these groups of friends becoming fierce enemies. In 2013, members of the gang MZ, based around Somerleyton, would be with 150 members in a South London hospital. The members would spot rivals, and a massive brawl would occur. It is known that a prominent member of 150, known as Sneakbo, and a prominent member of MZ, known as 5 Star, would be present. Police would be quick to shut this brawl down, and would actually arrest both Sneakbo and 5 Star. These two members were taken in for questioning, with it then being alleged that Sneakbo from 150 would snitch on 5 Star and the other MZ members. Months later, 5 Star would post the court papers on Twitter. These papers showed Sneakbo snitching about the hospital incident. Following this, the MZ gang would begin to go by Ciru and Ciroc. They also go by 727, which, like 67, when typed onto a trap phone, it spells out the word rack. Ciroc would also start to beef their former friends 150, as well as all of the gangs affiliated. This then meaning the Ciroc gang pretty much has beef with every gang in Brixton, apart from Harlem Spartans, this only being due to family ties. 2013 would also see the death of a loved member of 150 known as Pistol P, who would be killed by Team Raw members. On the 17th of February 2013, Team Raw members would seemingly get the drop on a member affiliated with the 150 gang, known as Pistol P, who was at a birthday party in southwest London. The members would travel from their block in Stockwell to Wandsworth, where they would then
like these shits happen back to back to back to back to back too, bro. Like I like, bro.
Go into one of the tower blocks that held the birthday party. Upon reaching the tower block, the Team Raw members would spot Pistol P standing in a stairwell. 4 members of Team Raw would then start to attack Pistol P, who would be stabbed multiple times in the leg. One of these stab wounds to the leg would actually sever an artery, causing Pistol P to bleed profusely on the scene. The 4 attackers would flee moments later, with police and paramedics arriving moments later. Sadly, Pistol P would be pronounced dead on the scene, with a murder investigation being launched. In December 2013, all 4 of the members members would be found guilty. 3 of the members would be given life with a minimum of 17 years, whilst the 4th man was given life with a minimum of 21 years. Rest in peace, Pistol P. It's also known that in 2013, members of 6-7 would catfish a 150 member known as J-Bands. J-Bands would be getting close with a girl that allegedly knew 6-7 members. J-Bands would go out with this girl. Whilst he was with the girl, a member of 6-7 would pull up and would shoot J-Bands in the head. Luckily, J-Bands would go on to make a recovery following the shooting. This incident just showing how tapped the beef was getting. In recent years, younger members of 6-7, like Dope Smoke and PR Sad, are starting to refer to 6-7 as Catfish Gang. In PR Sad's breakout track titled One Wish, he would rap the following line: "Catfish Gang don't believe in snap. 3 got shot because they fiend for vag," as well as in LD's Plugged In, where he rapped, "They want to know about Catfish Gang. Tell them. Go ask Rose and Bands." On the 10th of December 2000.
That's fucking insane, bro. The catfish, boy. The catfish, bro. Hell nah, bruh. Bruh. Crazy that this just one beef out of 50 plus in one city.
2013, 2 members of 150 being Styx and M Darg would link up and would drop a serious diss track towards 6-7, this being titled It's Cracking. 6-7 would end up replying, using the same beat and flow on a track titled It's Frying, which was released in February 2014. Gangs like 6-7 and 150 would start to blow in 2014, gaining millions of views on songs like It's Frying by 6-7 and the song titled Salute, released by 150. Even though these gangs gained millions of views, what people didn't know was that the war was continuing in the streets, with this just being the start. 2014 would also see a younger member of 150 known as SQ beginning to make music, often rapping alongside his friends, who are also from 150. SQ seemed as if he could maybe make a career from the music, but what no one was expecting was that only months later, he would sadly be killed by rival 6-7 members. On the 25th of February 2014, a member of 6-7 known as Incy would travel onto rival 150 territory based around Angel Town. Incy would spot a 150 member and would begin to chase him. SQ, who was driving through the Angel Town block, would notice that Incy was chasing one of his friends. SQ would jump out of his car and would attempt to intervene and save his friend. Incy would then move his attention toward SQ, who would then be attacked and would be stabbed multiple times by Incy. Incy would then flee the scene moments later, with paramedics rushing SQ to hospital. However, 2 days later, on the 27th of February 2014, SQ would sadly be pronounced dead in the hospital, with a murder investigation being launched. Incy would quickly be arrested and charged for the murder. During the trial, members of 6-7 would post him, an example of this being Monkey from 6-7, who would post a picture of Incy with the caption, "Free Squincy." Members would start to refer to Incy as Squincy, as he was the killer of SQ. In December 2014, Incy would be found guilty of manslaughter and would be sentenced to 12 years for the murder of SQ. Rest in peace, SQ. Around the end of 2014, members of both 150 and 6-7 would be blowing within the drill scene. 6-7 would drop the UK drill anthem titled Live Corn, which gained millions of views, currently sitting on 7.3 million views. Now, I said that Ciroc...
One thing I be noticing about these niggas, when they get to dissing, them shits hit. Like, them shits hit, like. And then, like, they go, like round that bitch. Like, they be knowing because they be putting me on. Like,
had started to have a rivalry with
bad,
150.
like,
This would seemingly get very deadly in
like,
2015,
like,
when a
he gonna
member
keep
of
rapping,
150
like,
would be
he
stabbed
kept
by
rapping.
Ciroc members. This 150 member would go on to make a recovery, with it being alleged Jay Munna would then go on to snitch to police about the stabbing. Ciroc would hear that this member had allegedly snitched and would gain his location, killing him in one of the most brutal and deadly ways. In August 2015, a member associated with Ciroc known as Fox would be lurking for rivals. He would seemingly gain access to the location of a house party that members of the Loughborough CMG gang would be attending. A member known as Jay Munna would be present at this party. During the party, Fox from Ciroc would pull up in a car and would begin to confront Jay Munna. A fight would ensue before Fox would return to his car, running Jay Munna over, crushing his head in the process. This then leading to Jay Munna being pronounced dead on the scene.
Wait, what the fuck just happened?
Known as Jay Munna would be present at this party. During the party, Fox from Ciroc would pull up in a car and would begin to confront Jay Munna. A fight would ensue before Fox would return to his car, running Jay Munna over, crushing his head in the process. This then leading to Jay Munna being pronounced dead on the scene. Police arrived minutes later and would end up arresting Fox days later, with an investigation into this shocking murder being launched. Fox would end up being charged for the murder. However, the murder charge would be dropped and he would instead be charged with manslaughter. Fox would go on to be sentenced. However, I couldn't find how long he was sentenced to. Rest in peace, Jay Mona. Around this time, members of LTH would begin to get involved in the beef, with it being known that a member of LTH would shoot a member of Sirac in the head, this member being known as Stabber around the time, but has more popularly become known as SR. Whilst it looked like members of the Gas Alliance weren't looking to retaliate, this would all change in the late 2010s, with gangs like UTH joining the Gas Alliance and beginning to beef the Hillside Alliance. In 2017, an older member of TN1 known as Chaos would sadly be killed in a car crash. Chaos would actually feature on a song with old TN1 members around 2011. This song was titled R.I.P. Zach and was a tribute to Lil Zach, who died in 2010. Rest in peace, Chaos. It would be around this time that a member of Tuna Raw would go viral in the UK drill scene, this member being Reeks MB, who would drop a song titled No Face with LD from 6'7". This song gained millions of views, currently sitting on 5.9 million views. Members from the nearby gang GID, or 5'5", would also begin to get active in this war around this time, this mainly being due to the fact they had affiliation with nearby 6'7". They wouldn't be that active in the war until around 2017, when a loved member of GID, known as YK, would be stabbed to death by a member of UTH, allied with the Gas Alliance, resulting in GID becoming allied under the Hillside Alliance, often riding onto the Gas Alliance. On the 31st of December 2017, YK and a few friends would board a bus in Tulse Hill. During this bus ride, YK would spot a member of UTH known as Shocks and two other people. YK would appear as aggressive and would confront the three members. When the UTH members realized that YK was on the bus, they would quickly leave the bus in an attempt to escape YK. However, YK would then follow them off the bus. By this point, two of the three UTH members would be seeking refuge in a store. Whilst Shocks was outside, YK would flash a knife he had on him at the time towards Shocks, who then retrieved his own knife, stabbing YK once in the heart. Shocks would quickly flee the scene, with YK being pronounced dead on the scene. Later in 2021, Shocks would be arrested and charged for the murder, but would end up beating the murder case on the basis of self-defense. Rest in peace, YK. YK's friends from Mitcham would go on to make tribute songs to him, this just showing how loved YK was in Brixton, with it being known he had connection to the Lower Tulse Hill Gang and 6'7" gang. It's also to note that another member associated with the gangs died on this same day, this being Shaq, who repped the LTH gang as well as the AP gang in Enfield. However, the death of Shaq wasn't due to any Gas versus Hillside beef, but instead a drug dispute with a member of AP from Enfield. Rest in peace, Shaq. 2018 would roll around, with new youngers starting to get active within the war. An example of this being Dope Smoke, who actually repped the RP gang based around Rupel Park. But in recent years, this gang
it's
has
crazy. I just reacted to that video. I said them niggas look young as fuck.
Would go on to become a very popular UK drill rapper years later, and would even be facing a murder charge at one point. 2018 saw the rise of rappers from LTH like C1 and J-Sav. It would be J-Sav that would go on to make noise in the streets, even featuring on a Next Up freestyle with C1. 150 would be looking for a get back for the members that they had lost, and would seek out J-Sav as he was seriously making a noise within the streets. And it would be in November 2018 that members of 150 would ride out onto Lower Tulse Hill. J-Sav would be waiting for his mum to pick him up, and what he didn't know was that bloodthirsty members of 150 would be on the lurk. Two cars containing the 150 members drove up to J-Sav. The members then jumped out and stabbed J-Sav multiple times in the stomach, sadly all whilst his mum was watching nearby. The members then fled the scene in those same cars, with J-Sav's mum then alerting police. However, J-Sav would sadly not survive this attack, being pronounced dead moments later. Police opened a murder investigation, but couldn't link anyone to the crime, with it still being unsolved. Rest in peace, J-Sav. Many theories about who killed J-Sav flew around the internet following his death, with it often being thought that members of 150 or AD were responsible. In 2018, members from Harlem Spartans were blowing in the drill scene, with rappers like SA, Biss, and Low Ski gaining millions of views on their drill songs. Harlem actually had a deadly rivalry with the Gas Alliance, but is not in fact allied with the Hillside Alliance. Harlem is only really affiliated with nearby Sirac, this mainly being due to the fact that members of both Sirac and Harlem Spartans are related, example of this being Lats and R1, with Lats then sadly dying in 2018, resulting in his cousin R1 riding out for him and killing a rival member from the Gas Alliance. On the 25th of July 2018, Lats or SA from Harlem Spartans and a member of Moscow 17 known as Mimes would ride out onto rival 150 territory. The members would be armed with a gun. Upon reaching the territory belonging to 150, Lats would spot a member alleged to be... He would attempt to shoot him, however the gun jammed. Would then run toward Lats and stab him multiple times. Mimes would then drive off with Lats on the back of the moped. Mimes attempted to...
Why they blur him out? Out of all this whole time,
he didn't even say his name.
he blurred the name out too.
On the 25th of July 2018, Lats, or SA, from Harlem Spartans, and a member of Moscow 17 known as Mimes, would ride out onto rival 150 territory. The members would be armed with a gun. Upon reaching the territory belonging to 150, Lats would spot a member alleged to be... He would attempt to shoot him, however the gun jammed. Would then run toward Lats and stab him multiple times. Mimes would then drive off with Lats on the back of the moped. Mimes attempted to take Lats to a nearby hospital. However, Lats would be in and out of consciousness, and eventually would pass out on the back of the bike. This is when Mimes would supposedly push Lats off the back of the moped, and would shout to nearby civilians, telling them to get him to hospital. Sadly, however, Lats was pronounced dead moments later, with a murder investigation being launched days later. It was thought that would be arrested for the murder, but would have the charges dropped on the basis of self-defense. Rest in peace, Lats. It's even alleged that Incognito from Moscow 17 would have been asked to go on the ride out with Lats, but declined. And after learning that Lats died, he would write on his Snapchat saying, "When bro called me, I should have went. It's my fault." Incognito was actually a very prominent member in the Zone 2 versus Moscow 17 war. This is another video in itself that I will be making. Sadly, however, only a week later, Incognito would have been stabbed to death by a man after attempting to steal a Rolex. Lats actually had a cousin, this being a member of Sirac known as R1, and upon hearing the news that his cousin had died, R1 would seek retaliation on the 150 gang, this then resulting in the incident that occurred in 2019, that then led to the deaths of 4 members all in a 1-year time gap, with 2019 being one of the most dangerous years in the beef. On the 21st of February 2019, a member associated with the 150 gang known as Thumps would be standing outside of Lipton Youth Center. What he didn't know was that a violent and dangerous member of Sirac would be lurking around the area, this being R1, who only had one thing on his mind, this being avenging his cousin Lats. R1 would notice Thumps outside of the youth center. Thumps would make an attempt to escape by running into the main room of the youth center, but would trip and fall, leading to R1 getting closer. Thumps would be able to get up and carry on running, but would then sadly trip and fall, with R1 catching up and stabbing him multiple times in the thigh. R1 then fleeing. Police and paramedics arrived shortly later and attempted to treat Thumps, who had lost a lot of blood at this point. This then sadly leading to Thumps being pronounced dead moments later, as a result of blood loss. R1 would quickly be identified as the attacker and would be facing the murder charge. In the end, R1 would be found guilty and would be sentenced to life with a minimum of 18 years. Rest in peace, Thumps. One name that often gets brought up by rappers from the Hillside Alliance is Reckless, who is actually an older from the UTH gang that even appeared on an old freestyle from 2011. This song being titled Mama Told Me. This song didn't gain that much attention, currently sitting on around 7.3 thousand views. Watching this emotional music video nowadays is very sad when you come to learn that a month after the death of Thumps, he would sadly be shot dead. Only a month later, on the 29th of March 2019, a member of UTH known as Reckless would be lured to an apartment by alleged Hillside members. However, upon entering the apartment, he would be shot in the head, dying on the scene. Paramedics would arrive on the scene moments later and would even bring Reckless back to life for a brief amount of time before he then sadly died. His killers have never been identified, with many people speculating who actually killed him. Rest in peace, Reckless. In June 2019, a member of 6'7" known as Giant would be in a park within Wandsworth. He would notice a member associated with CT and 37 known as Stomps. Giant would confront Stomps, and a violent altercation ensued. Giant stabbed Stomps multiple times, killing him on the scene. Police would arrest Giant days later and would put the charges toward him. Later in 2020, he would be found guilty and would be sentenced to life with a minimum of 25 years. Rest in peace, Stomps. In Harlem Spartans' extremely disrespectful track, He's Dead, they would call for the freeing of their friend R1, where they said, "Free R1, that's Shanks in chests." They also said that a member of 410 was stabbed in the same week that R1 killed Thumps. The next deadly incident between the Hillside Alliance and Gas Alliance would occur around 2 months later in August 2019, this then leading to the Get Back killings taking place in South London. In August 2019, Dope Smoke's younger brother Double S would often ride out onto rival CT territory in Clapham, as they were Hillside's main rivals, being allied with the Gas Alliance. On the 15th of August 2019, S1 from CT would be walking with a girl believed to be the...
All you hear, like,
This is just the whole year of 2019, bro. They going back to back, bro. We only in July.
That shit not cool.
girlfriend of Nutty, who was also a CT member. S1 would notice Double S from 6'7", who would be sitting on a wall. S1 would then approach Double S, fist bumping him. Double S then started asking S1 where he was from, as he believed he was a part of the rival gang CT from Clapham. S1 would then deny involvement with any gang, and would seemingly walk away. After walking a few hundred feet, the girl would call Nutty, as they were being followed by Double S. Once Double S would catch up, he would stab S1 in the neck and chest multiple times. Sadly, S1 would be pronounced dead before Nutty could arrive on the scene, with police and paramedics arriving moments later. Double S was arrested days later and would be charged with the murder of S1. Eventually, in the end, Double S would be given 14 years for the murder. Rest in peace, S1. Dope Smoke would be heavily affected, as he had in a way lost his younger brother. But it wouldn't end for Dope Smoke, who would be charged with murder himself, and losing another one of his closest friends to jail, this being VD, who was the killer of Lil D from the LG8 gang. Dope Smoke would also be arrested for this murder, and after months of being on trial, VD would be found guilty and would receive life with a minimum of 19 years for the murder, whilst Dope Smoke would have all charges dropped against him, being let free in 2020. Rest in peace, Lil D. Dope Smoke would actually rap about these incidents in his leaked song titled Deeper Than Drill, which was a very heartfelt song. In it, he raps, "I bust case, but my didn't bust that. Looking at his mum in the dock like, fuck fam, they took her only son, but he took it like a tug." This referencing the murder that VD was arrested and found guilty for. He also rapped, "Real talk, I put my mum through mad stress. I can't lie. How she coped was a madness. 2M's both sons locked because of gang shit." This referring to how both Dope Smoke and his brother Double S were facing serious murder charges around 2019 and 20. 2020 would start, and would see the beef with Team Raw and gangs from the Gas Alliance exploding, resulting in 2 members of Team Raw dying in a 1-month time period. The first of these would be a Team Raw member known as 16 Shot, who was actually a rapper, and would feature on songs with other Team Raw members like Clap-A-Lot and C-Figures. Anyways, on the 20th of August 2020, 16 Shots would gain access to the location of Styx from 150, who was hosting a birthday party for himself. 16 Shots would ride out onto the Angeltown estate in a stolen car. However, this car would crash on the estate. 16 Shots then got out of the car with a machete, attacking Styx from 150. Other members of 150 would notice this, and would chase 16 Shots for a few hundred feet, before 16 Shots was stabbed 30 times by 150 members. A murder investigation was launched following this, and would result in 2 150 members being arrested. This included a member being known as KTN, who would go on to be found guilty and sentenced to 17 and a half years for this murder. During the trial, KTN's music was actually used. In one of his songs, he labeled himself a flick knife pro. Rest in peace, 16 Shots. It would be around this time that members of Harlem Spartans would drop the insanely disrespectful track titled He's Dead. This song featured a verse that disrespected multiple dead rivals. Now, I'm saying this, as only a few months later, members of the CT gang from Clapham would fire back and release their version to this song, being titled Put in a Spliff. This song also featuring a verse in which the CT members would name multiple dead rivals. Anyways, in 2021, a member of 150 known as Bally would be standing with 2 girls, one of these being his sister. What he didn't know was that members of Sirac and Harlem Spartans would be lurking. Moments later, the members would run up to Bally with guns and would shoot him multiple times. Bally was killed on the scene, with video even emerging showing his sister's reaction after the death. An investigation was launched following this, and only a day later, police would arrest SD from Harlem Spartans whilst he was at the airport. Since then, though, SD has been released, and the murder has subsequently gone unsolved.
He was about to get the fuck out of there.
Multiple tit-for-tat shootings and murders would take place around this time, with members involved in the war starting to move cautiously within the streets. And it would be on the 30th of October 2022 that 6-7 members would catch another rival, this being Perm from the gang CT. Perm actually had a very influential run in the UK drill scene around the early days, dropping anthems like Dottie and the Ride, which actually featured a real shotgun in the music videos. This song gained thousands of views, currently sitting on around 900,000 views, so it would come as a surprise when Perm would be shot dead, with the killers never being found, and even resulting in the death of an innocent bystander. On the 30th of October 2022, alleged members from the rival 6-7 gang would pull up on Railton Road within Brixton. The members would notice Perm in a car and would begin to let off shots. Perm would then use the vehicle and would attempt to escape by driving for a few moments. Perm would sadly collide with an innocent Deliveroo driver whilst trying to evade his attackers. This Deliveroo driver would die on the scene. The attackers would end up shooting Perm multiple times, with Perm being killed on the scene. Another member of 150 would also supposedly be shot, this being Cones. It had been alleged that Perm was very prominent in the streets, often catching rivals. However, I won't speculate on this. Since the death of Perm and the innocent Deliveroo driver, no one has been arrested or charged for the double murder, with Crime Stoppers even putting out a £20,000 reward to anyone with information. Brooker from 6-7 was originally arrested for the double murder, However, he would go on to be released days later. Rest in peace, both Perm and Guilherme Messias da Silva. Recently, in 2023, members of Serac would ride onto Angeltown territory and would stab a member of 150 known as Skeng Roy multiple times. Skeng Roy would sadly die on the scene, with yet another police investigation occurring. Since then, however, no one has been arrested or charged for the murder, with CCTV even being released showing the members running away. Many theories fly around the internet about who was responsible. However, until someone has been charged and found guilty, I guess we will never know. Rest in peace, Skeng Roy. Following the death of Skeng Roy, rival members would be looking for retaliation for their fallen friend, and on the 3rd of October 2023, alleged 150 members would get back, stabbing a Serac affiliate known as KK or Smalls on Cold Harbor Lane within Brixton. KK would actually be attacked in front of terrified shoppers who would call police. Police then arriving moments later. Sadly, KK would be pronounced dead on the scene. A murder investigation launched by police has seen the arrests of multiple teenagers who are yet to be charged. Rest in peace, KK. KK's friends would actually post him following his death, with a member of Serac known as Trap SG posting an image at KK's funeral with the caption saying, "Bro coulda chose this life, but chose not. Rest easy, my boy." The most recent incident to take place within the beef would be the death of J-Sav from the 17 Wano gang, which is better known as TOG. J-Sav was allegedly set up by one of his own friends, who then shot him dead in 2024, with it being thought that his killer was a 150 member, which is crazy as 150 and 17 Wano are both gangs that are allied. Anyways, after the news that J-Sav had died reached his ops, they would begin to go live, with a member of LTH known as G41 going live with the title of the live being Backdoor Pack. AK from 6'7" then would post a story with the song Backdoor by Lil Durk playing in the background, but I guess we will truly find out once a full murder investigation has taken place and someone has been charged. Rest in peace, J-Sav. Since the death of J-Sav, no other incidents have occurred within the streets. If you have learned anything from this video, however, make sure that it is to stay out of the streets, as this road lifestyle that you see these rappers living often only leads to jail or death. Oftentimes these rappers have lost most of the people around them to the roads, an example of this being Dope Smoke, who lost his brother and best friend to the gang life. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe.
I was trying to compare it to like our kind of city, but I can't because London is big as a bitch, really big as a bitch. So it's almost like one of the big cities like New York and shit, bro.
Right.
And them niggas up there, it's big. Nigga, how y'all go back to back, bro? Just back to back, bro.
Yo, that shit clouded my mind. It was so many of them shits, bro. I couldn't even think no more, bro.
I was having interested in that shit.
Like. But yeah, though, chat. Yeah, though, YouTube, if y'all want more videos like this, because obviously they're going to be shorter. I already looked at them. They ain't that long. Y'all already know what to do. Tell us what video to react to next, and we're going to do it, man. We appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that post notification button, stay tapped in. Once you tapped in, you ain't got to tap out of Let's Play UFC, but you already know that. And make sure you follow up on the Kick. We live daily. Come get lit with us. Come kick it with us. And we out of there. And that's that YouTube video. Chat, I'm going to beat the shit out of y'all. Y'all ever send a video that long again? Yo, y'all ever send a video that long again? Oh, y'all old fake.